This is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Election Day is 1 week from tomorrow, and the candidates for Kentucky governor are making their final push before voters head to the polls. Jessica Umbro caught up with both candidates today.
You're going to see really competitive down ticket races. It's pretty exciting to see how hard they are working. In the end, though, each of these individuals has to get out and make their own case.
Monday morning in Richmond, the full slate of Democratic candidates for statewide elections joined Governor Andy Beshear for a message of unity.
It's so important to recognize everybody that's on the ticket in these important down ballot races, but very much in support of the governor.
The final sprint of the campaign marathon is not new for former Governor Steve Beshear, Andy's father.
They're going to win, and it's because they're out here for the right reasons. They put the people first and their own self-interest second.
Here in Flemingsburg, Daniel Cameron was also traveling with some big names in the Kentucky Republican Party, including 2 members of the U.S. House of Representatives.
It's a unified party, and we feel very good about where we are and that we're going to win on November 7th.
Attorney General Daniel Cameron was joined by his potential successor, Russell Coleman, who says a Republican governor is the missing piece to a Republican control of Frankfort.
And so now we have an opportunity for this full Republican ticket to come alongside him.
With U.S. House of Representatives members Andy Barr and Thomas Massey as well, linking Washington, D.C. to the Commonwealth.
That's really important that we send a message to Washington, D.C. about where the people are. And I think they are hurting from national policies that are going to affect state politics.
In Flemingsburg, Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
With Election Day right around the corner, here's a look at some important dates coming up. In-person, no-excuse absentee voting runs from Thursday, November 2nd through Saturday, November 4th. The hours are 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Check in your community on the locations being offered there. And of course, Election Day is Tuesday, November 7th, and polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The candidates for lieutenant governor debated tonight on KET. Jacqueline Coleman is, of course, running again with Governor Beshear. State Senator Robbie Mills is running with Cameron. The two seem to agree more funding was needed in schools, but for different priorities.
Kentucky is number 2 in the nation in economic development. We are number 3 in rural job creation, but we cannot stay that way. If we continue to have teacher pay in the mid-40s and we continue to underfund the largest employer in every rural county, and that's our public school system.
It is being funded, but we can always do better in K-12 through K-12 education. One of the things that Daniel and I have put forward is the Cameron catch-up plan. Our kids are way behind. They need tutoring. They need individually tutoring to catch them up from the 2 years that they were out of school, that they were having these Zoom classes. The Cameron catch-up plan would also have raises for teachers.
Coleman is from Danville and is 41 years old. Mills is 56 and from Henderson.
Well, after some soggy weather to kick off the work week on Monday, we are tracking some drying conditions as we go into tonight. Here's a look at the radar at this hour. You can see for most of us we are dry but still cloudy as those showers continue to push off to the east. And those temperatures at this hour are chilly in the middle to lower 40s, down to 42 in Pikeville, 40 for Clintwood, and 43 for Somerset, also Jackson at this hour. As we go into tonight, most of us falling into the middle and upper 30s, but notice those far western counties possibly close to freezing as you wake up on Tuesday in the middle to lower 30s. So we are watching out for a freeze warning in place for those far western counties from Rowan County down into Wayne County and back into central Kentucky. That's a freeze warning through Tuesday morning. For the rest of us, a freeze watch is in place from Tuesday night also into Wednesday morning as some more chilly weather is on the way. Possibly a top 5 coolest Halloween on record for London, also Jackson, as temperatures stay in the upper 40s and lower 50s. All those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right. Hope the kids have warm costumes. Appalachian Regional Healthcare was one of the recipients of donations announced at their flood distribution center today. The Housing Development Alliance, Homes Incorporated, and ARH received more than $300,000 combined from Kentucky Sports Radio and the Kentucky Chamber Foundation. ARH CEO Holly Harris says that's not the only major development in their flood relief work recently.
We just purchased over $200,000 of household appliances for people that are rebuilding, and everything from new dishwashers to washers and dryers to lamps and everything in between.
Harris says the $50,000 they received at the event today will go towards scholarships for students in health-related fields. The Flood Distribution Center is located at the old JCPenney building in Hazard. It's been 1 year since London Police Sergeant Logan Medlock was killed by an alleged drunk driver. Casey Bird, the man charged in the deadly crash, appeared in court today. A judge set the trial for April of next year, also granting a change of venue to Bowling Green. On the 1 year anniversary, Sergeant Medlock's memory is also being honored by the police department. Officers held a run in his honor, passing by the courthouse this morning. London's police chief says the anniversary is bringing back difficult memories from a year ago.
You know, all of the emotions that we experienced that day, you know, the moment that we found out, the moment that we heard about it come flooding back for me, and I'm sure for everybody else. It was such a tragic time, such a tragic event.
A new monument is now at the spot where Sergeant Medlock was killed. Whitesburg Fire Department Assistant Fire Chief Joe Back has died. We are told he had a massive heart attack and was transported to Pikeville Medical Center, where he was eventually taken off life support. Officials say Back had served in emergency services since the mid-1980s. First responders escorted him back from Pikeville to Whitesburg today. Funeral arrangements are still pending. Earlier today, family and friends celebrated the life of WYMT's former general sales manager, Jim Boggs. The service was at Maggard's Mountain View Chapel in Hazard, and several former WYMT employees were there with the Boggs family, celebrating a life well lived and remembering the wonderful legacy that Boggs leaves behind.
I think he'll be remembered for that smile and just from his sense of humor, and you know, like I say, just being a real decent guy and a great salesperson.
Boggs worked for WYMT for 25 years, from 1990 until his retirement in 2015. He was 75 years old. A groundbreaking ceremony was held for a new hotel project in Corbin. Leaders also broke ground on a $3.5 million expansion of the Corbin Center. It was made possible by a public-private partnership. The hotel project includes a Town Place Suites and Fairfield Inn and Suites with conference room space. Senate President Robert Stivers said he was excited for the possibilities this creates in additional jobs and more tourism. The Laurel County School District has a new superintendent tonight. Administrators announced Denise Griebel will take the role on a permanent basis. She's been serving as interim superintendent since early August after Dr. Doug Bennett retired. Griebel has been with the district for 16 years. One area high school is celebrating a national spotlight on its devotion to student success, with administrators saying it all comes down to creating a campus that makes the students want to show up in and out of the classroom. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more.
What happens here at Johnson Central is not like a typical school.
A school where the experience is as important as the education.
We're allowing these students to explore, figure out what they want to be, and by the time they graduate,
Johnson Central High School prides itself on a curriculum devoted to helping students find their career paths.
You're in 2030.
Using the more than 30 pathways on the Paintsville campus.
They get to choose their classes instead of be prescribed. We want the student to make their choices, find the thing they love, and then whenever they find it, they wake up and want to come to school.
A program that pairs well with partners like the Building Assets Reducing Risks, or BAR Center, which works with freshmen to create bonds and identify barriers to help each student find their unique path to whatever success looks like for them.
Help me.
They understand they're not on an island. They have commonalities with students that maybe they didn't know, and even teachers that maybe they never would have believed.
Officials say that partnership has seen immense impacts, recently gaining a national spotlight through the grad partnership. with the school's graduation rate improving to 98% and chronic absenteeism decreasing to only 2% since 2018.
Intentionality of the administration to ensure that we provided the things for the teachers to implement to the students. It was the intentionality of the students to be aware and invested and involved.
Garnering a space where students are invested in their own success.
They were a small town school doing big time things.
In Johnson County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Command Plus.
Plus, Mother Nature has all tricks and no treats for tomorrow's forecast. Those details after this break.